there is already a lot of negative stereotypes about Black American women and Black American people in general that permeate throughout the continent. And so I am really disappointed that they did it in front of them. I knew that they were going to fight in these people's countries. That was already a lot for me to digest. But I think the fact that they did it in front of these dancers. And welcome back, everyone. This is Griot of the Diaspora, and I am your host, Nakaira G. And today, y'all, we are talking about Baddies Africa. Okay, so I know that you guys are very used to me talking about like kind of serious topics and things that's going on in Africa, but I am trying to, elevate and expand my brand here on YouTube. So I am going to be reviewing Baddies Africa episodes. The reason why I'm going to do this is because I think that it is really important that I have like some type of critical analysis as well as have fun with the content that I'm doing, because a lot of the topics that I take on can be quite daunting and a little bit depressing. And I watch Baddies. I know that people are going to judge me for that, but guess what? I don't care. Um, and I've been waiting since the announcement that this came out that I was going to be reviewing these episodes. So let's talk about it. Okay, y'all. So this past Sunday, Baddies Africa has finally launched on Zeus Network. And the girls are going to South Africa, they're going to Kenya, and they are going to London. And so in the first episode, they meet up in Atlanta to have some unfinished business. And then in the second episode that's coming out next week, they will be in South Africa. So I just want to talk about the first episode and my quick thoughts, right? So majority of the cast are still American. Half of the cast are people that have been on the cast, and a lot of the girls from last season. So there's Summer, Big Lex, Bad Dolly. Um, uh, those were girls that were on last season. And then we still have Diamond the Body. We still have Scotty. We still have Rolly, who is my favorite. And okay, Rolly is my favorite, but my new favorite is Ivory. Okay, now I'm biased because I'm from Compton. So unfortunately, I always have a soft spot for hood LA girls. And Ivory is my girl. The way that she talk, her mannerisms, like everything is just like, it's just so nostalgic. Like oh my God. And she cracks me up because like literally like the way that her thought process be when she be talking about certain stuff, I'd be like, yeah, girl. Um, but what's very interesting is that with this cast, from my understanding, there's only two African girls on this cast. One is Zimbabwean and her name is LCK. Girl, that wig. I already know that the comments and the blogs are about to eat her alive. I already know. I need another confessional look because that wig. And then, of course, they have a Nigerian girl whose confessional look eats down, okay? Because one thing about the Nigerian girls, okay, if you want to talk fashion, if you want to talk makeup, if you want to talk tailoring, clothes, yeah, you can trust a Nigerian with that, okay? Um, and her name, I believe, is Chaco Brown. But I was just very shocked that, and then there's some other new girls and stuff like that that came in from the auditions. But I am really shocked that there's only two African girls on the cast. Now, I'm shocked that these African girls are even on the cast, but I wish that it was like half Baddies cast, half African girls. But I will say, logistically, that probably would have been problematic. When I think back on it, I'm like, that probably would have been problematic because that could have really been very diaspora war vibes, because then it could have very turned into the African girls versus the American girls really quick, right? It could have turned into that really quick. If you guys watch Baddies Caribbean, because some of the girls are already Caribbean, it wasn't really necessary for them to add girls, but they did add girls that were not already on the cast, and they did add some type of representation, and they went to the Bahamas, they went to the Dominican and all this stuff. But so for the first episode, it was so interesting because they obviously were still in Atlanta before they left to go to Cape Town. And there was issues with Natalie and Scotty, which I think is still, I can't even really tell if it's real or not, because it's like, unless Natalie is going to say to Scotty's face, like, you fucking the CEO, I just don't believe a lot of it. I just don't. And then all of the beefs between Diamond the Body and the other girls, Summer and all of that, that was just, I feel like the beefs was kind of lackluster, honestly, in a way. But what I do want to talk about is the looks, okay? The fighting is the fighting, but I do want to talk about the confessional looks. So, Natalie's look was very interesting because Natalie has never really done the kinky hair wig thing. So, I thought that this was very interesting that she chose kinky hair for her hairstyle. And her outfit is, it's basically like a braided dress, like a braided hair dress. I've seen this before on social media. I don't know the designer or anything like that, but I have seen this type of concept before. So I do think that it's interesting that they did the confessional looks to kind of have some type of African presence. I will say Diamond the Body's look though, Diamond the Body's look 8. I love Diamond the Body's look. I love her dress. I love her headpiece. She literally looks like a Niger girl. She looked like she would fit right on in. I love how certain black women, when you see them in their bad bitch aesthetic, and then you finally put them in like African attire, and it just looks so natural on them. That's how I feel about Diamond the Body. It looks so natural on her. Um, and then Ivory also had on Ankara fabric as well, and it looked really good on her. She had her red wig, she had the red fabric. I thought it really was cute, but I need to see another look. I need to see another look. I feel like that one was just kind of like a quick little 1-2, but I need to see more. Obviously, I told you LCK's look. I need to see her redeem herself, because that first confessional look and even her audition video, Lord. And I know Zimbabwean girls can come harder than that. Choco Brown, the Nigerian girl, her confessional look was really really cute. The outfit that she's wearing is, I think it's a very popular look that a lot of Nigerian girls wear. Kind of like that nude structure with the crystals all over it. One thing about Nigerian girls, they have mastered a crystal dress. There's nowhere else. Like, I mean, they have mastered that. Um, and these were honestly my favorite looks of this particular episode. I feel like everyone else, they just did their own thing, and they just kind of looked like fairies, or they just were kind of doing something that wasn't, it was just giving like they were doing like summer in the park. But I feel like these were the looks that I liked the most. So overall, this episode one, I'm excited. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I'm kind of excited for the next episode. Now, I will say, I think next episode is where we're gonna have a serious conversation, because in the previews, we see the girls fighting in front of the South African dancers. So, a lot of people, when they come to Africa, they hire people to come dance for them and perform and welcome them into the country. And so that's basically what they did with South Africa, except the dancers came to the home that the girls will be staying at. And You see the South African dancers do their dance, and then 2 seconds later, you see these girls literally fighting in front of them, and you can just see on their faces, like the South African dancers, like they were just like, what is happening? And I'm gonna save a lot of my commentary for next week's episode, but that is where I was like cringing, because there is already a lot of negative stereotypes about Black American women and Black American people in general that permeate throughout the continent. And so I am really disappointed that they did it in front of them. I knew that they were going to fight in these people's countries. That was already a lot for me to digest. But I think the fact that they did it in front of these dancers, and you can look at the dancers, they look young, they look so innocent, they look like they were just so happy to just be there, and you could just see like the energy just shift. So that is what we are going to be looking forward to for next week's episode. Definitely let me know how y'all feel in the comments. I know that a lot of y'all probably do not watch Zeus Network, and that is fine. But for those of you that do, let's talk, let's chatter, let's chit chat. Until next time.